We are going to be talking about 49ers intel, everything that we've gathered from Radio Row at the Super Bowl, talking to the who's who in NFL royalty. Spoke to John Gruden today. We have talked to multiple people. Lee Steinberg, aka Jerry Maguire, super agent. We've talked to defensive players, Gerald McCoy. We really just picked the brain. Former quarterback Jake Delhomme, who took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. We have talked to so many people on Radio Row and really just pick their brain. And so I'm going to tell you the biggest takeaway that I have, including from guys like Taylor Lewan. The list goes on and on and on. And a common theme had started to develop in regards to quarterback Brock Purdy. Obviously, it's been heavily discussed about what the 49ers should do. Should they pay him? Should they not? What should that look like? And like I said, we have a lot of intel now to gather. Radio Row is officially closed down. Well, I guess it's not officially closed down. They'll have sometime tomorrow, but everyone's pretty much out of there. So I'm going to tell you everything that I've heard, and we're going to talk about some of the news that went down, but you guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat, and as always, smash that like button. Let's go right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right, what is going down? SDS. Let's do a quick roll call. Shout out to everyone who's tapping in on this Friday night before Super Bowl Sunday. Oh boy. I actually spoke to a Niner today as well. I sat down with Tariq Owens for about 16, 17 minutes. And we had a really just like a full-blown conversation about his rookie season. He gave me his Mount Rushmore too, of top wide receivers in the NFL. And it was pretty cool to hear him talk about that, right? Because guess who Pops is, right? But anyways, it's just been a cool experience. This whole Senior Bowl week, Senior Bowl. That was last week. This is Super Bowl week. Has just really been a cool one. And like I mentioned, we have talked to so many players, so many former players, so many coaches, agents, media. It's been fantastic. So getting to pick the brain of a lot of people who this is their life. They are footballers. It was great. Radio Row, like I said, was phenomenal. We got to talk to so many people, and I keep saying we went down there with a couple of my boys, and we just really kind of divided and conquered. And we got so many people. Mina Kimes. It's crazy. I think I need to make a list of all the people that self and the guys that I'm here with interviewed. We got so many. But I'm excited to kind of talk about some of the stuff. And it was pretty cool to be able to get Gruden and be able to talk with him and all that stuff. And so kind of like one of the big takeaways of talking to a bunch of people, even people who maybe didn't see the vision with Brock Purdy. I think Gerald McCoy said it the best. Gerald McCoy, former defensive tackle in the NFL, when I was talking to him, He was like, I always believed that Brock Purdy was sitting shotgun in a Bugatti. He's like, that's what I always said. And he said it wasn't till he had a conversation with Trent Williams that Trent was able to really open up his eyes to why Brock is a good quarterback. And again, it goes to the things that we don't see. It's not the physical traits, right? It's the intangible elements. And one of the things that Gerald McCoy was telling me that Trent told him was that you really need to be able to understand how difficult Kyle Shanahan's offense is, how complex it is, and how you have to be almost like Rain Man to be able to execute his offense and the way they execute it. And there's things that just look routine, but they look routine because Purdy processes it, he sees it, he jumps ahead in his reads because of the way the defense is looking, and it's like he's able to see things and do things from a mental standpoint that allows him to play really, really well. And so Gerald McCoy, he's just one example of a guy that kind of flipped like his perception as someone who thought he was really just a game manager. I also thought the really interesting interview that I did was with Lee Steinberg, super agent, the guy who reps Patrick Mahomes. The movie Jerry Maguire was made after him. And I just asked him about the quarterback market and how these contracts come to be about. Because I know I've preached at you guys about how this is going to work. And of course, there's always going to be fans who are going to say, oh, no, Brock's only worth 30 million, 30, 35 million at best. And what was really cool, again, about being able to talk to an agent who does this for a living, he's like, there are so few like franchise quarterbacks in this league. And those franchise quarterbacks, when he's saying franchise, he's saying the elite guys. He's saying like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. We know the names, right? And he's like, but it is so hard just to find a competent starting caliber quarterback in this league. And the thing is that if the 49ers weren't to pay Brock, who do they have? Where do they go? And with how these contracts and how it works, he kind of took me inside the how they do this is they take his resume, they take his stats, they take his performance, and then they compare it to everyone else and what they've been paid in the league, and then they slot it. And that's what I've said from the very beginning. I said it doesn't matter what you think, and it doesn't matter what I think he should be paid. What Brock Purdy will get paid is based on the market. And what they're going to do is they are going to take his stats and they're going to compare him against Dak, the guy who is knocked out of the playoffs twice, undefeated against 3 times. They're going to take those stats. They're going to compare him against Trevor Lawrence, a guy that he has beaten as well and outperformed. They're going to take those stats and they're going to compare it against Tua and do all those different types of things. And that's how the numbers are generated. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to land at the highest of the tippy top, but at the same time, it's just rationalizing how these contracts come about, because there's this notion amongst the fan base that it's like, well, if Purdy doesn't take 35 million, then we're not going to do it. And it's just like, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. And so with all that being said, it's like, if you hear anyone who says that, they're speaking from a place of being uninformed and speaking from a place of not understanding how this works. And so I don't want to constantly have to get on here and be like, well, this isn't how it works. This isn't how. So I'm just going to say it one time. Brock Purdy's going to get paid between 60 and 50. They're going to find a sweet spot somewhere within there. And we're gonna go from there. So until then, we'll see. There might be twists and turns along the way. I'm definitely of the mindset that there will be. I don't think it's just going to be a smooth sailing situation. But if we're going to talk about this and have an intelligent conversation about it, like John Gruden said, he said they should pay, or they should make a statue for Brock Purdy in San Francisco, because Brock Purdy saved, at least from John Gruden's perspective, he saved Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's job after they traded multiple first-round draft picks for Trey Lance, and Trey Lance busted, and they had to move off of him. And, like, yeah, not everyone wants to pay big money to a quarterback, because we have seen some of the pitfalls of that. But at the same time, not only is Purdy, and it's just not, it's a multiple level thing, right? It's not like, oh, well, you pay him just because there's no one else. No, that's not why you're doing that. It's a part of the conversation. You look at his resume, you look at the success he's had, you look at how he fits in this roster, on this offense, in this locker room, you look at the intangible qualities, and you also look at the other options, because what are the other options? Are you going to bring in Justin Fields? Are you going to bring in Kirk Cousins? Are you going to bring in Marcus Mariota? Who is going to be your quarterback if you opt to not pay Brock Purdy? What is that going to look like? So at the end of the day, it'll be interesting to see what he gets. But, I'm tired of having the conversation about this number in the 30s. So I'm going to just say that. And so, like, part of the conversations that I've been having all week with all these people in so many different facets, whether coaching, whether player, current player, former player, agent, we have talked to every aspect on the spectrum, and only one person pushed back, and that person was Mike Florio. The only person who said that Brock Purdy should get 30 to 35 or the 49ers shouldn't pay Brock was a guy who called Brock Purdy Brock Turdy. And so if you want to try to contextualize intelligent conversations about contracts, if you're listening to someone who is saying the 49ers shouldn't pay Brock, or you're listening to someone who says they should only pay him 30 to 35, just keep in mind that is the same thought process of someone who is a grown man who said Brock Purdy doesn't even have a quarterback name because his last name rhymes with turdy, which isn't a word. Just so we're clear. I just want to throw that out there. So I'm not sitting here advocating for Brock to get a max contract. I've never done that. I've never came on here and said Brock Purdy needs to get $60 million. I've never said that. Not once. I think Brock Purdy needs to get fair market value. That's what I think. And whatever that shakes out to, it is what it is. But let's keep it a buck. And that's where we're gonna leave it. So moving on, that was really just one of the big, kind of takeaways was all the football guys that I spoke to believe the 49ers should pay Brock Purdy. So there you go. One of the things that broke today was actually, before we get too far into that, Let's talk a little Super Bowl, shall we? So I've made my picks for Super Bowl Sunday. I'm curious. Before we do that, who do you guys think is going to win? Let's throw it out there on the table. Is it going to? I know none of you probably care, but it's still the Super Bowl, and we're still football degenerates, and we're still going to find ourselves watching this game. Who do you think wins? Is it going to be Chiefs? Is it going to be Philly? And again, it's not who you want. I'm not asking you who you want to win. I'm asking you who you think is going to win. You might not care at all about this game, but you can still use your brain and have a logical thought process to look at the matchup and be like, well, I think Philadelphia matches up really well against the Chiefs on the line of scrimmage, but you have Patrick Mahomes, et cetera, right? So we can still have a conversation, even if you don't want either of the teams to win, because none of us do. None of us care who wins this game, because it's a lose-lose for 49er fans. But so far, I'm seeing a good amount of, actually right out the gate was Eagles, seeing a decent amount of Eagles and a decent amount of Chiefs. Some of the things that I've also gained from talking to football people, football personalities, and players, former players this week, is that I think everyone believes on paper that the Philadelphia Eagles are the better team. But I think because of the Patrick Mahomes effect, the current narrative that is floating around the Chiefs with their favoritism by the refs, I think people believe that if Saquon Barkley isn't rushing for 150 yards or more, that the Eagles are going to lose. And, I probably agree. I think it's probably a situation where the Eagles are, if they become one-dimensional and it's on Jalen Hurts to win the game because they take away the run game, that's going to be pretty interesting. But we'll see how it works out. But you know what time it is. It's time to make our Super Bowl ticket, ladies and gentlemen. And we're still running the Play 5, Get 55 offer when you use my code SF9ers when you play Sleeper. And, man, they got a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. So if you pop onto Sleeper right now, they have multiple discounts on players right now. So I'm going to show you my ticket. I'm using there's a sale on Patrick Mahomes right now where they drop some of the yardage that he needs to get. But I'm going to also show you how much you can win off a $10 ticket right now. And this is my first ticket, but I'm going to build out a couple more. But again, if you've never played, it's the last game of the year. You put in $5 into your wallet. When you use my code, you'll instantly get 55. So you can actually build out a couple tickets and just kind of dabble on the Super Bowl. And to give you an idea, this is a $10 ticket right here. I have 5 picks. They're a little bold, but $10 would win 400 on just these 5 picks. So if you're worried about kind of playing DFS and thinking that you're just going to lose all your, like, this is a $10 ticket. This is a $10 ticket, $10. And if you use the code SF9ers, you've already got 55 in your wallet. So you could play this ticket in a bunch of different variations, however many times over. So you can see I took, so this one's again bold. No, I have never heard of the under. So I went Saquon Barkley getting the first touchdown. So like I said, it's a bold ticket. It's a bold ticket. Saquon Barkley getting the first touchdown. Patrick Mahomes combined pass and rush yards on the over 265 yards. Travis Kelce, I think, is going to get peppered. So I'm going with 7 receptions. D Hop is super low at only 1.5 receptions. I think he'll get at least 2. And then with Pacheco, he's also super low. So these two, I think, are sleeper picks. These, I would say, Barkley and Kelsey are the boldest. And then Mahomes is the pick sale, and I think that one's attainable. So, hey, we're going this $10 ticket, baby. It's a $10 ticket. It's a Super Bowl. We hit this, we're up 400. I know it's a little crazy. I know it's a little out there, but last game of the year, can't hold anything back now. So that's where we're going. But trust me, this isn't going to be the only one that I make. I'm probably going to end up making like 5 or 6 of these because, like I said, it's the last game of the year for the NFL, and you can see I'm pretty heavy on the Chiefs. Pretty heavy on the Chiefs. And then you got Saquon Barkley. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But like I said, this is a bold ticket. A bold ticket, but go big or go home, right? The frick is that? Anyways, there's some weird noises. Again, if you want to get in on the action, sleeper, use code SF9ers. Play 5, get 55. What are those noises? Bro, we got someone being like see the I don't even want to speak it into existence. What I'm sensing is is there's this energy that's saying use Brad's promo code SF9ers when you play sleeper, play 5 get 55. That's what I'm sensing right now. So do me a favor, get in on this action. What could that be? What? See, there's people upstairs, so I think that's what that is, right? That's what that is. That's what that is. It's an Eagles fan. Oh, hell yeah. Dude, what? Damn it, Chili. Chloe says, "Hey, Brad, I just want to thank you for all the great content and work you put into what you do. I discovered you through David, and I don't believe anything I read about the 49ers until I see it from you." Chili said, "This is a perfect segue into a pregnancy story." Oh my gosh. Dude, what is going on? Hold on. It's fireworks. It's fireworks. Man, I'm ready to go home. if you can't tell, it's fireworks, but it sounded like it was really hard to explain. It's like, what is that? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go home. Can you tell? Can you tell I haven't slept that much? I have not slept very much in the last 2 weeks. It's been crazy. James says, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the NFL didn't make the Chiefs practice all week on a college turf field with sod laid over it. Dang. Yeah, they probably didn't. They probably did not. Yeah, that brings back memories. That brings back memories for sure. But some other news happened today. The San Francisco 49ers hired a coach. They hired Gus Bradley as a defensive assistant. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. I like the move. I think that the more experience. I mean, Gus Bradley has been a defensive coordinator since I think 2009. He's either been a defensive coordinator or a head coach since 2009. And the fact is, we're running an offshoot of his defense, where Saleh most likely picked it up from him when he was in Seattle. So I don't even know what his title is. Like, so the fact that, again, the more continuity you have with your coaching staff, especially a fresh mind, someone who hasn't been with this staff, because I think that's one of the things with the 49ers, right, is they do want continuity, especially with, Chris Kosurik, Johnny Holland, Bullocks, a lot of the mainstays here. But I also do think it is good to have fresh eyes. So you're bringing in Saleh back, but you're also bringing in Gus Bradley, who's got a ton of experience, and he runs this like this is his system effectively. At least from when it was with Seattle and what they developed with Pete Carroll. So I think it's a good move for sure. I can't tell you exactly what it's going to be and what his responsibilities are, but man, you take someone with that much experience in the NFL doing what he does. I'm for it. I think it's a good decision, good move. So, yeah, I don't mind it at all. I don't mind it at all. So I had a really cool opportunity to interview the president of the San Francisco 49ers, Al Guido. And along with I believe, I don't want to get her title wrong. I believe she's the CEO of the Bay Area Host Committee. Let me double check. But anyways, I got to interview Al Guido for about 10 minutes. And he talked about a couple things. Zane Lean, president and CEO of Bay Area Host Committee, who helped get the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. So one of the things about what the 49ers are currently doing right now is they're redoing all their video boards. So what I thought was actually pretty interesting to hear is that once they're complete and once they get it done, the 49ers will have the most square footage of video boards in the entire NFL. And that's pretty crazy considering the fact that you have the newer stadiums like SoFi that have those crazy like 360 halo front and back monitors. And they're talking about how 49ers are going to have the most square footage of video boards. And so they're redoing everything. So it was pretty cool. And it was a good interview with Al. I know talked about a bunch of different other things with what they're doing in regards to getting the Super Bowl here and getting prepared for that and the World Cup and all those different types of things. So it was more kind of on the business side of things, but it was a cool opportunity to be able to talk to him. So, man, so I can't even keep track of the amount of people that I spoke, interviewed, either on camera, off camera. It's crazy. I'm gonna have to sit down and I'm gonna have to make a list. But it's been pretty cool. And I'll open it up for a couple questions to you guys before we get out of here. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Chloe says, Brad, do you think Robert and Gus being together attracts any players who know them well to the 49ers? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I think having Saleh and Gus, especially coming from the Colts, you're tapping into relationships that you haven't previously had on your staff. Now, obviously, Saleh has been on your staff before, but he hasn't been on your staff when he was a head coach for the New York Jets. So when you bring these guys back onto your staff, I think it does really give you an opportunity to kind of expand your network. And if there's anything that I've learned, with being on Radio Row and kind of being around the NFL, is a lot of what this stuff is relationships, right? Like, you know, help, because everyone can't do it alone. So throughout this process, you kind of realize, like, all right, and you start to meet really cool people, and you start to develop relationships, and you start to see how you can collaborate and work together. And so guys like Robert and Gus, they're going to be able to come in and collaborate with Kyle and be like, hey, these are guys that we coached. These are guys that we scouted. These are guys that we played against that we think could make our team better. And I think that's a big positive for sure. So I do think that will happen. And I think that's a good question. What role is he going to take? I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he kind of would he take an assistant head coaching job? I don't like kind of take the Staley role. I don't know. Maybe he takes Staley's role. Can the 49ers win the Super Bowl in 2025 season in SF? I think there's a path for it for sure. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a foregone conclusion, but I don't think they're too far. But they do have to make some pretty critical moves. I'll say this. What I'm hearing, something I've heard today actually is, let me figure out how to say this the right way. From what I'm hearing, it does sound like the 49ers could be moving in a bit of a different direction at safety, potentially. I think there could maybe still be a path for Talanoa to return, but from something I heard today, in talking to someone that I trust and is plugged in, and has no ties to the 49ers, not a single tie. It kind of sounds like the 49ers could be going in a different direction at safety. Now, again, just, conversations happen, things happen. This is what I'm hearing, that kind of stuff. So it's not official or anything, but maybe the 49ers, it does kind of seem like the 49ers are trending towards potentially going in a different direction at safety. So that means they need a new safety. If that is the case, let's play it out hypothetically. They would need, because I don't believe right now Jair Brown is in a good enough spot to be the starting safety. I think he's a good depth safety right now, just based on what we've seen in the last 2 years. I still got a lot of belief in Jair Brown, but I think he still needs some time. So I do think the 49ers would then have to, if they are pivoting, again, Talanoa was an all-pro not too long ago. And if he does sign somewhere else, let's say like the Denver Broncos, maybe the 49ers have to fill that hole. And I think we're anticipating Charvarius Ward leaving, so they need another cornerback. They need a couple cornerbacks, actually. We don't know if Dre Greenlaw is going to return. So we know they need more linebackers, but they definitely need a starting caliber linebacker. And they have no starting interior defensive tackles. 3 down interior defensive tackles. I think Malik Collins is a more than adequate situational pass rusher on the interior. I think Yetur Gross-Matos is a nice chess piece, inside out kind of a guy. Leonard Floyd is an adequate edge. I don't think Leonard Floyd pushes you over the top. So I think the defensive line needs to be adjusted. You need a left guard. You need a new center. You probably need another wide receiver potentially, and some depth at running back. So as you can see, there's a considerable amount of moves that need to be made. But if the 49ers knock it out of the park in regards to filling those holes with a combination of draft and free agency, I do believe that they could get back in a hurry, especially if Brock Purdy is your quarterback, especially if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, George Kittle remains healthy, Brandon Ayuk returns healthy, and you get some key pieces on you retool the defense, and you kind of elevate the offense. Again, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I don't want to paint a picture from like a perspective of, oh yeah, I'm just a 49er fan, so of course we're going to be back, quest for 6, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not trying to paint that picture. What I'm trying to say is that they have such a solid core group, that I do believe that if they can fill those holes, and if they can do certain things and find the right guys, then yes, I do think they will be right back in the mix, right back to competing for division championships, NFC championships, and that will put them on their path. So still lots of work to be done, but like I said, I love what we're doing with the coaching right now. I love it. I love the Saleh hire, and I do. I like this. I'm not over the top with the Gus hire, but I like it enough. Man, people yelling at each other outside. What is going on here today? Other than Defoe, what other players can attract Gus that can produce right away? Well, I guess if we just pull up the Colts roster so I can kind of see. And obviously keep in mind he's coached multiple. What about Samuel Womack? There's a young cornerback with the Colts who played pretty well last year. His name's Samuel Womack. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. Underrated kid, 5th round draft pick. Maybe you've heard of him. I don't know. Ooh. All right. This guy might be right up the 49ers alley. Now I just need to double check if he's a free agent or not. Hold on. If I don't want to say his name, because if he's not available, he's not available. So the name that I was thinking was Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore would be a phenomenal third cornerback, but he still has 2 years left on his contract. So I was going to say Kenny Moore, but I don't think he'll be available. But Kenny Moore would be fire. He's 29, so again, if he was a free agent, I don't know if he would. He makes a lot, so I don't know if I would trade for him. Maybe they cut him. I don't know. Wait, is this Rob Louder? Like the Rob Louder, or is Rob Louder saying that? Is this your YouTube channel? Is this a quote from Rob? That's good, Rob. Are you quoting him? It was good, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Make sure you guys go follow Rob. He does some great 49ers content. He's got a podcast on Blue Wires, Striking Gold. Go show him some love. But yeah, man. I'm curious to see what the 49ers do. See what they get. Again, it's not just, oh yeah, the 49ers are back. They got some homework they got work to do. They definitely have some things cut out in front of them. But if they can make a couple key additions, I absolutely think key additions and a good draft, and all that stuff. So anyways, I'm going to get out of here for now. I appreciate everyone who's followed along with all the coverage from the Senior Bowl to now the Super Bowl. And then once we get done with the Super Bowl, we're going to be fully entrenched in the draft. And then not too long from now is the scouting combine. So a lot of stuff. The offseason is never eventful until the draft is over. We're still working. We still got a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of stuff to do. Trades, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby. Oh boy. Grab your cookies on the way out. Appreciate everyone. Y'all the best. I'm not sure when I'll be live next. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. Yes, I really wanted to get a new mock at the beginning of this week, but the Radio Row took this over. So I'm going to go ahead and say new mock next week. I feel like mock 1.0 was really good, but I think mock 2.0 needs some sprinkling of some Senior Bowl players. So we're going to get that going. And I would say after this week, we're going to be super into. We also got to talk free agency, so that's another element that we got to talk about. All that stuff. So I appreciate you guys. Grab your cookies on the way out. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see you.